Welcome to Martial Media Review. I'm Stephen Reich, and today we will be discussing Kickboxer. Kickboxer is a movie that came out in 1989, was directed by Mark DiSalle, co-directed by David Worth, and stars Jean-Claude Van Damme as Erik Sloane. Erik Sloane is the current U.S. world champion in kickboxing, with his brother Kurt serving as cornerman. After his most recent title defense, Erik is enticed by the media to further prove his legacy by competing in Thailand, where kickboxing was invented. Erik and Kurt then travel to Bangkok, where they are matched against Tong Po, Thailand's undefeated top fighter. Despite Erik's overconfidence, he is badly beaten by Tong Po, and with the help of retired U.S. Army Special Forces soldier Winston Taylor, he is taken to the hospital with Kurt. The doctor tells them Erik is paralyzed from the waist down and will never be able to walk, let alone fight again. Furious, Kurt vows revenge for his brother and wants to fight Tong Po, but Taylor warns him that the only way to fight him is in the ring. Kurt goes all over looking for a Muay Thai teacher to train him, but has no luck until Taylor reluctantly tells Kurt about a locally famous trainer living in a remote area of Thailand named Xian Chow. Xian agrees to prepare Kurt for Tong Po, but the two get more than they bargained for when they find out Tong Po works for a group of Thai mobsters led by Freddie Lee, who rules over the town with bullying and extortion, and will do most anything to ensure Tong Po's victory. So after the success of Bloodsport, Van Damme fans everywhere were looking forward to his next big movie. And after a supporting role in Black Eagle and the very disappointing Cyborg, we got Kickboxer. This was the movie we had been waiting for. It had a lot of the same beats as Bloodsport, but with a classic revenge story. Van Damme's acting was much improved, and he did a pretty good job as Erik Sloane. His fights, of course, look really good with his trademark jump spin kicks and clean technique. After watching him train, you definitely feel like he's getting better and ready for his fight. Erik Sloane is played by former heavyweight kickboxing champion Dennis Alexio. He was also at one time the light heavyweight and cruiserweight champion. You may remember his rivalry with Don the Dragon Wilson while he was light heavyweight champion. I don't think that was ever settled. Anyway, he does a fair job as an overconfident champion who thinks he knows everything better, probably something he has a lot of experience in real life. Dennis Chan plays Muay Thai Master Xian Chow. I thought he did a great job as Master Xian, and plays him as eccentric and wise. His daughter Mai Li, played by Rochelle Ashana, is also good. She is very attractive and plays a nice love interest for Kurt that feels very natural. Haskell Anderson plays retired Army Special Forces soldier Winston Taylor. Now, while I like this character very much, I'm not fond of Haskell Anderson's performance. All things considered, the acting in this movie surprised me in a good way, but this guy is the weakest of the bunch. It's too bad, since Taylor is a much-needed character who really helps move the story along. When we meet Tong Po, Thailand's top fighter, the intimidation feels very real. Just watching him kick that support beam and all that plaster crumbling down was enough to show the audience that Erik was in over his head. If you have ever seen Rocky IV, then I can tell you that this fight plays out with very few exceptions, just like when Apollo Creed fought Ivan Drago. I would have left it with Tong Po being a ruthless, seemingly invincible foe in the ring, but of course, by martial art movie tradition, they have to keep raising the stakes, and therefore making Tong Po as evil as possible by the end. And if beating Tong Po wasn't enough, Kurt also has to take on the Thai mob that runs the town, as well as all the fights. If I had to point out a negative, it would be that there are a lot of scenes in this movie that were just like scenes in Bloodsport. This seemed to be a common practice with martial art films at this time. Take, for example, Steven Seagal's first few movies. The problem with this is that if you do it too often, it's hard to tell one movie from another, and they sort of start blending together. That said, I really enjoyed this movie and consider it to be a martial art classic. If you're a Van Damme fan, you most likely have already seen Kickboxer, but if you haven't, I highly recommend you go check it out. If I was to grade this against other Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, it would easily make my top 3. But overall, I give Kickboxer 3.5 out of 5 stars. So, have you seen Kickboxer? If you have, what did you think of it? Be sure to let me know in the comments. And as always, if you know of a movie, book, TV show, documentary, what have you, that you'd like me to discuss on the show, be sure to let me know that in the comments as well. You can find me at Likewater Productions on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.